All right, guys, looks like we are live. I'm just going to go ahead and test the live stream. And once I test it, in a few seconds, we will get in the video. In a few seconds, we will. Okay, so it's working perfectly fine on my YouTube. Now, let me just go ahead and test this quickly on Facebook. Close. I'm actually coming up online today at a very odd time. That is because I was running late, but I wanted to keep going and not miss on the third episode and not miss on the schedule of the third episode. All right, all right, perfect. It looks like we are live. So, guys, if you have any questions regarding the first two episodes, drop them in the comments wherever you're watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel before you leave. If you're watching this on Facebook, like the video so that more people discover this video and we can kind of share this information across and have a discussion and have a healthy discussion on this topic, because I'm just here to kind of help you look into these options and these various options about getting reviews, and then it's up to your creativity and your execution as to how do you go ahead and pull these things off. So this is the third episode. In the first episode, we looked at, I believe, whoa, I don't remember. Okay, in the first episode, we looked at the early reviewer program. So go ahead and check that out on the YouTube channel. The link to the previous episodes is there in the description. So in the very first episode, we looked at the early reviewer program. In the second episode, we looked at how can we use the request a review button on the order details page to request for reviews from our customers who have already purchased. And now in the third episode, we are going to be looking at how can we use email sequences to our leverage and automate the review generation process. Okay, so these are like all of these different methods are basically work mutually exclusively. You don't really need to be doing one of them or all of them. You can literally go ahead and set up all of these options and find your way through it and see what is working the best for you and your brand and your products. Okay, so again, I'm going to be keeping this video very short. We are not going to get into super in depth as to how do we write the emails, because that's another concept and another art. If you need me to create a video on the topic wherein I kind of walk you through as to how do we write the emails, let me know in the comments. And as I keep saying, and I will keep saying, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're watching this on Facebook, just like the video so that more people discover it. All right, then, with that thought, let's get into the topic itself. So I've been selling on Amazon as a private label seller since 2017. Okay, so 2017 October, I remember the date exactly. It was the 18th of October 2017 when I launched my very first private label product in the toys segment. And I used, like at that time, I was a complete fan of Jungle Scout. I believe I hadn't explored any of the products, and all the other products were not really out there as much as Jungle Scout was. So I was probably, I don't know, I cannot really claim, but I was in the very first list probably of people using Jungle Scout. So in 2017, I would say. So yes, I kind of found my product by mixing a bunch of different methods, and I discovered my product, and kind of went ahead and launched it in October 2017. And since then, I've always used email campaigns to automate my review generation process. And I'll tell you, from my experience and from the data that I've observed, I started using the email automation tool Zonemaster when I started out initially, and that helped me kind of automate the emails which I used to send to the customers. So that was the initial tool that I used to use. I've kind of stopped using Zone Master because I moved to a different tool, and now I've also kind of unsubscribed to that other tool, and I'm going to be moving all of my email sequences to Jungle Scout because I already have a subscription for that. So it doesn't really make sense to pay for multiple tools. All right. So having said that, email sequences are a great way. Now, with email sequences, you need to figure out three things. First of all, you need to figure out when do you send these email sequence, or when do you send these emails to the customers. So you have to define your events. Okay, so an event, for example, can be as soon as the customer places an order on Amazon, or an event can be as soon as the customer, or as soon as the order gets marked delivered to on Amazon. So as soon as an order is delivered, Amazon would update its backend, and that would kind of give you a signal, or your tool a signal, to send out that email that you have set. If you are sending your email, as soon as the order is delivered. Now automate you can automate your emails, you know by certain rules. So for example, you can set this kind of rule on with your tool, which kind of sends the email to the customers 2 days after delivery, or you can set a rule which sends the emails to the customer 7 days after delivery. Now, the reason that you need to figure that out is that you need to understand that a customer may not be ready to review your product as soon as they get it at their doorstep. Okay, so that is an obvious deduction here. Like, for example, imagine yourself as a customer of a product, and you order a product from Amazon, you receive it at your doorstep. Now, if you get an email at that particular moment, when from the seller, and the email asks you that, hey, can you go ahead and review our product? Okay, honest review, like, in the sense, I mean honest review. But that is not going to be the perfect timing for you to ask that question from your customer, because the customer may not have interacted with your product, or they may not have spent enough time either liking or disliking the product, because it can honestly go both ways depending on that particular unit and your entire product quality and a lot of different aspects. So you need to figure that out. Don't be very aggressive in terms of asking your customers for reviews through your emails. What I do is I send my first email out to customers as soon as their order, uh, as soon as they successfully place an order. Now, when I send that email, I don't really talk about reviews at all. I only talk about the brand. I kind of tell them about my brand through that very first email. I tell them what are they expecting. If there are certain expectations set with the product, I kind of reassure them of those expectations. Maybe it's the size, maybe it's the weight, maybe there are certain aspects of the product that they need to be aware of. So I go ahead and tell them that through the first email. Now, the second email is something that I send to my customers on the third day or the second day after the order is marked delivered. Okay, so that this is my recipe. This is what this has been working for me, but I would advise you to test these things out yourself. But sending your email to the customer requesting for an honest opinion, feedback, or review a couple of days later, after delivery, is usually a good idea, because again, going back to the point, if your product is just delivered and you request for a review, then they might not be ready for dropping that review, and they might just ignore that email altogether and forget about it, right? So that is why I send my second email to my customers on the third day after delivery. Okay, and you can set all of these different rules in any kind of tool that you use. I will go ahead and show you how can you do it in Jungle Scout, because I'm going to be setting up my emails for my new product today. So this was the perfect opportunity for me to talk about it, and also kind of enlighten you guys as to how can you do it yourself. So that is when I send my second email, wherein I request, like, wherein I basically try to understand from the customer that have they used the product, are they facing any issues. That is going to be my first concern. If they are facing any issues, they should probably get back to me as the seller, uh, and that is what I want to address in the second email, which I send a couple of days late after delivery. And then in the third email, where I sent my third email a week later, okay, about 7 days later after my delivery date, And I do that because by that time I would expect my customers to have used the product. Okay, that is an assumption, but that would again depend on the product. Okay, so if you are selling, a product that they might be using on a day-to-day basis, then your assumption would play out in your favor, as to they must have used the product. If you are selling a product that may be used once in a month or something like that, then you need to be a bit more uh, patient with asking feedback from your customers, and probably send it a bit later on than what I do. So it all depends on what product you're selling, what kind of frequency of usage the customers might have for that product. So you have to keep these things in mind when you are thinking about these things. So as of now, we have, as you can understand, we have discussed when do I send it. So when can you send it? You have to answer that question for yourself. What do you write? Okay, don't be aggressive in the first email. Just talk about your product, your brand, and what the customer would be expecting when they receive the product. And in the mails following the delivery date of the product, what you can do is you can kind of start looking for feedback, whether it's positive or negative. And maybe in third email you can be a bit more aggressive in terms of asking for an honest feedback. Okay, remember, you should not use certain keywords which Amazon kind of flags. So you cannot say, for example, you cannot write in your email that, hey, can you please go ahead and leave a 5-star review or a 4-star review. Okay, or you cannot even incline, or you cannot even go ahead and push the customer to kind of give you a positive review only. Okay, and if there's a negative feedback, drop me an email. You cannot use that kind of language on your emails, because that will get your emails flagged, and once that happens, you may not be able to send emails for a good amount of time. Or maybe if you are completely against the terms of service or the messaging policy that Amazon has set up, your account even can get banned, because you might be inciting customers to give you only positive reviews and not send the negative reviews onto the product details page. So be very careful about the language. When you use Jungle Scout or any other tool for that matter, they would probably be enlightening you on these elements as well, because their business depends on you doing this correctly. So you will certainly get some kind of help and advice when you do that. So now, let me actually go ahead and open up my Jungle Scout backend and tell you what can you do and how can you play around with this, and how can you set your emails and trigger and campaigns. So let's get into that. Let me go ahead and share my another window. All right, guys. So before I go ahead and share the other window, I must kind of go ahead and talk about this for just a second, which is basically the Jungle Scout offer that you guys can claim if you are watching this video, because this is an offer from Jungle Scout which is not available to any other group, or probably any other. It's not available anywhere else, because as you can see, this is giving you a 30% off. This is an exclusive deal that you get if you are one of the members in the Republic of Sellers tribe. So go ahead and check this link out as well. It will tell you exactly what are you going to be getting. You're good, in whatever package. This is the best deal you can get. You will not be able to save more than this anywhere else. Okay, so this is an extremely amazing deal, and I've been using Jungle Scout, as I said, from 2017. So it is an amazing tool. I've been following Jungle Scout closely on social media, on their live streams, everywhere else. So they have been very, very transparent with whatever products they have and however they operate. And like I believe in their product, because I am from the tech background, I'm from the product background, so I understand what kind of work are they trying to do. So that was just a quick information for you guys. Now let's get back in uh, the window wherein I can go ahead and show you what can you do and how can you set up your campaigns. So let me go ahead and share my other window now real quick. Yeah, so now you should be able to see my Jungle Scout window. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, so this is basically somewhere you can, so once you log into your Jungle Scout, let me first tell you how do you reach it. Once you log into your Jungle Scout, what you can do is you can go ahead and click on this launch option, and then you will see this option called email campaigns. That will bring you to this page. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. This is where you can go ahead and set your email campaigns. Now, to create a new email campaign, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and create, click on create new. Now, if you have multiple products, you can create different email campaigns for each and every product and make it very personalized to that product and make it product specific. So that is something that you can definitely do. But for example, let's say you have a brand and your first email is just talking about the brand and the entire catalog of products, then that email can be a common email across multiple SKUs. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new campaign right now and just walk you through a little bit about how can you go ahead and do this yourself. Now, uh, in the first step, you can go ahead and select one of their templates. As you can see, they have certain templates where you would get a list different a ready-made template wherein there'll be multiple emails across that campaign, and you can just kind of change the text in there and just hit make it active and hit run, and that will kind of start pushing your emails out to the customers when they place an order. Or you can go ahead and create a custom email. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this custom email option, but when I do that, in the next step you have to go ahead and select the product. Now, because I don't want to be revealing my product at the moment, I'm just going to be turning off my screen share for just a second and then coming back to this. Bear with me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I've clicked on the custom email option. Now I've selected a product. In the next step, that is all that you need to do. Then you have to go ahead and click on next. And now let me open up my screen once again. And now, as you can see on my screen, in this step, what we need to do is we need to set up our trigger points. Okay, we have to build our campaigns. We have to set up our trigger points. So here there are multiple trigger points that you can set. You can say when the customer purchase the product, when the customer's order is marked shipped, when the customer has the product delivered. Now these are the different events that Amazon informs the system. Okay, so as soon as Amazon marks the product as purchased, when the payment of the customer is complete, it'll probably trigger this email. It will trigger this email, not probably. When Amazon marks the order as shipped, it'll probably trigger a specific event. When the order is marked as delivered, then you can send out a specific email. So you can literally be in touch with the customer across all of these different trigger points. So you can send an email when the customer purchases the product. You can send an email to the customer when their order is marked shipped, letting them know that, hey, your order is marked shipped, this is the tracking ID, and those things will be available for you to kind of plug into your email. This is your order ID, this is your tracking ID. You can expect your delivery to happen within X number of days. So be rest assured that you would be getting your orders very soon. So you can just stay connected to the customer through these email sequences, and that is the idea initially. So if you do that, if you are in constant contact with the customer, then that kind of puts your brand in their mind and kind of keeps them aware about their order as well. And that is going to help you get that successful review in the third or the fourth email when you actually go ahead and ask for an honest review. So that is how you need to be operating this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on purchased and see what happens. Again, like, let me just go ahead and unshare my screen for just a second, because I'm actually not sure as to how this works, and I don't want to be sharing my product details at the moment. Really sorry for that. Okay, so as soon as I clicked on purchased event, so let me just do that. Okay, cancel. So as I clicked on purchased event, what I can do here is I can actually send my email as soon as possible, or I can send my email maybe one day later or one day after the actual purchase happens. Okay, so that we are sure. So why would I need to do that? We would probably need to do that because we want to be sure that the customer doesn't come back and cancel their order. So that is why we could probably think of giving a one-day window and send our emails at a later point in time. Now let me go ahead and cancel this and set show you a different trigger. So let's say we want to send out the shipped. Okay, can again do that ASAP or X days later. So let's say I want to send it 2 days later, I would select that, and then uh, once I click here, it would probably take me to the email creation step where then I can go ahead and create my email. So again, like give me a second. I'm actually just going to go ahead and click on that email option that you just saw. And yes, let me share my screen once again. So yes, as you can see on this screen, you can go ahead and set up your subject line. You can go ahead and write your own email sequence here, and there are certain tags that you can kind of automatically plug into your email, and this will be automatically and dynamically filled as the like as per the details of that particular order. So your product name can be plugged in, your product ASIN can be plugged in, your product image can be plugged in, and the image would be the image that you set up on your Amazon. Your tracking ID can be plugged in if that is available. Your estimated arrival day can be plugged in, because Amazon is providing these details to Jungle Scout or to any of these email autoresponder tools, and that is how they are going to help you plug that in dynamically into every email and make it very personalized to that very order and that particular customer. So that is the advantage of using something like Jungle Scout or any other automation tool to help you send these emails out, because you don't have to do it yourself. Okay, so that is how it's going to help you, because you just set these emails once, you write your email copy once, you define your rules once, and then you just have to forget it. And let me give you a small stat from experience. As I said in the beginning of this live stream, I started selling my very first private label product in October 2017, but and I set up all of my automated emails in October itself from the very first day. But in the entirety of 2019, I've only went ahead and probably looked at my email autoresponder tool maybe 3 to 4 times in the entire 365 days in the year. I never had to kind of open up my tool once again and set these emails up or edit these emails up, because you don't really need to look at them. Okay, you just need to set them once. Unless there is any platform rule change or policy change, you don't really need to worry about them at all. So go ahead and experiment this out. All you have to do after this is save this email, and then turn this email as active. If you do that, then your rules will take start to play. And if somebody places an order, your emails will start getting fired up and get sent to your customers automatically. So that is the magic here. That is how this works. And I hope that was useful, guys. I hope you found some value in this live stream, as well as the previous live streams. If you haven't checked the previous live streams out, go ahead and check it out as well. And I will see you in the next episode, wherein we are going to be talking about, let's see, product inserts. So we are going to be talking about product inserts in the next episode. So I hope I'm bringing you some value. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out the link of the Jungle Scout exclusive discount for Republic of Sellers members. And yeah, have a great one. It is Saturday today, 12:38 p.m. in the daytime. I'm still hustling. I hustle usually every day whenever I can. So keep hustling, guys, and all the best.